Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for meeting me today.
I'm so excited to get to connect with you. Thank you for reaching out. I love what you and your partner are creating and really excited to explore together.
It's going to be fun. For those of you tuning in, this is the fourth episode, fifth episode of the Ourcana sessions. Today I am joined by Chaya Cohen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are in a beautiful space right now. This is the Reforesters Lab. You've been practicing and teaching here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk a little bit about your background, what led us to this time and space and this moment now?
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
See, where to begin? I think as a child of two therapists, constantly having infinite conversations about the feeling body and trying to make sense of myself as an overly sensitive, little one in the world who often felt at times a bit ostracized and like I didn't totally fit in. Hypersensitive, sometimes hyper anxious. I really found a lot of time and space that was most nourishing in my younger years, chatting with plants and trees and creating. And I'm very grateful that through the years, through my own continued just spiritual awakening and journey, I've been brought back again and again to honoring the natural whispers of both the planet and also my own true authentic self, which has been deeply supported by breathwork and sound and body work and not working in isolation from these amazing plants surrounding us, but listening to them and honoring them. So it's been, a lot of different spiraling journeys of trying to honor my heart, which has led me on this path of the shamanic path to really be in sacred service to love and to beauty and to community, which has really always felt very incongruent with these somatic practices, which are around the inner listening. And I think essentially listening to one another. So,
Yeah. Have you worked in this space your entire adult life?
This physical space?
No, in the shamanic healing kind of guiding space.
Yeah, so I went to college for photojournalism as well as psychology. I thought I was going to be a therapist or maybe a psychiatrist. And I was also obsessed with creating worlds with my camera. And that was actually my happiest space in my high school and college years, was creating sacred space for folks to be themselves through play and dress up and really creating whatever world they wanted to be a part of most.
Yeah.
And I loved learning about others and their passions and their alter egos through that realm. And so for, I'd say 10 or 12 years, I was shooting nonstop in the fashion and documentary world, doing a lot of different photojournalism projects. But essentially being just really passionate and curious about learning from everyone around me. The camera was a great icebreaker.
Sure.
And also eventually realizing that I was also disassociating from my own physical body and needing to step away from camera and tech and computer screens to reorient, which breathwork, sound, bodywork, plant medicine really helped me to reassess and re-meet different parts and archetypes of myself. Which has been a continuous study to learn from and also to support others in as they've been infinitely supportive to remembrance and to being a multidimensional spirit and what can come through when I practice surrendering and allowing for my body to speak and share. And
was there a particular event or a catalyst that kind of had you pivot more into this space?
Yeah. I was working recreationally with lots of different psychedelics. I was always very curious about altered and expanded states, but I wouldn't say that I was doing so in a way that was as conscious as I now hold. I think there's just a level of reverence that for me has been so pivotal to being able to collaborate and learn from these ancient medicines and those that have been serving them for many moons. So I had some really challenging psychedelic experiences, which at times left me feeling really dissociated from my body, which actually brought me sometimes deep into the underworld or into very ecstatic spaces. And I had one journey at Burning Man in 2019 that actually led me to the Holocaust.
Wow.
And my grandmother is a Holocaust survivor. She's 97. I was just with her yesterday. She's my greatest spiritual teacher, and I'm really grateful that I had that experience because I think it showed me how much of my body I was ignoring, and also in my ancestry and in just all that's moving for everyone in this world. I was receiving a lot of whispers from my team, my spirit team, but also darkness, trauma that needed to be addressed. And I'm really grateful for how gripping that night was.
Yeah.
That forced me to take a pause from my profession in photography and really hop onto so many different massage tables and work with so many different breathwork and sound healing practitioners to start really listening and giving an hour to the back of the heart, a half hour to the solar plexus, really re-meeting parts of self that I think we all need to give more attention to, and having so many continued epiphanies and remembrances. And so, yeah, I would say that moment led me to seek out a lot of the spiritual teachers that have changed my life in the most profound ways, and to want to devote my life as well to supporting others in liminal knowledge states, that we can stay safe and on this planet while still having miraculous and profound experiences with the wisdom of plants, but also with the wisdom of our own bodies.
Sure. Was there a particular practice after having that experience that kind of you were drawn to more than others? Like, would it be sound or breath work, or what was the first step in your journey to becoming a healer or a guide?
Yeah, thanks. So I remember learning about this organization called Zendo. Are you familiar?
I'm not familiar.
They're a psychedelic harm reduction organization that is at Burning Man, but also all over the world. And they also work in congruence with MAPS, which is an amazing organization creating more education and organization around plant medicine and harm reduction. Really sharing resources and education to honor both Indigenous community, Indigenous teachers, but also how we talk about work with, and learn from, working with these different psychedelic therapies and plant medicines with deep care and deep reverence so that we can have really beautiful experiences and also share, right, in community. And so I learned about this group, and I also met some amazing folks that recommended a few different breathwork teachers to go sit with. And my first session with one of my teachers, Vivian Rosenthal, who's an amazing Jewish breathwork teacher here in New York as well. Again, I was thrust back into the Holocaust and I was having all these flashbacks and visions. And I was also seeing all these different parts of self that I could communicate and connect with that were just asking for attention and to be part of the conversation. Vivian, I remember, put her hand on my shoulder and was like, "Hey, sister, I've had a similar experience, and I think you're a channel, and you also need to sit and study, and one day you're going to be a teacher." And so it was about a year of studying and working and being mentored by Vivian Rosenthal as well as David Elliott. We're both amazing angels that I've been blessed to learn from, where I just again and again would throw my arms up and move into the power of breath to release the fear of needing to be anywhere specific other than in my body, and to ultimately learn how to use the power of this two-part breath to see the unseen, to actually go into different facets of self and psyche, and also to see how much healing is available in that when we're not in the seeking space, but actually just doing the internal work. And then I pretty quickly started teaching and to see so much beauty and connection and downloads from thousands of groups who were not only having profound experiences with themselves, but also with one another. And that's part of why I love breathwork so much, is it's really about witnessing, right, our fellow community members in the exhales and in the laughter and in the tears, and knowing we're not actually solo on our paths and that we can actually accelerate the work in togetherness. So I would say breathwork was an amazing collaboration and ally with my ongoing study of sound healing and also body work. And I love the way they can all come together too.
Yeah, I love the way that you said that, like exploring different facets of psyche and self. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've noticed, like in my experience, you need to have a certain level of cardio. It was always functional for the task at hand. Mm-hmm. And since I've been exploring breath work, doing like an online course under Michael Biker, mm-hmm. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's that idea of exploring different facets of your psyche and yourself through breath work alone. You really can get to different spaces and different places. It's fascinating. Yeah. And I don't know another word other than, it's not addicting. Mm-hmm. That's not the right word, but it's like once you get an idea that there are doors mm-hmm. that you can open, yep. it's like, oh my goodness, there are doors. How many doors? Where does this door go? And where does this door go?
Yep.
It's very interesting. You almost want to continue just to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And see how deep and how far you can go.
Yes. I love that you've been passionately exploring and tuning into what is also serving you, and how much we all get to keep sharing, right? These different codes. And ultimately, I think it helps us, tear apart any vulnerability and armor that is so easy to put up, especially in a big city, right? Like in New York City, how many of us are just like running past each other to get to work or to create, or need to potentially be on in a certain way. And so for me, both as a recipient and as a teacher of breathwork, it's been such a reminder of how important the naked truth is, allowing myself to try with others, allowing laughter to flow, welcoming the inner child to talk and be seen. And in doing so, also inviting others to explore maybe mutual resonance or sharing more of their truth too.
That's a really interesting point that I don't have it marked on my card, but you made me think about, do you have any advice for those that are navigating an urban environment or the noise, the frequency? It's very easy, especially in New York, to get caught up in that rush. I think we built up a lot of reasons why we can't take time for ourselves. How would you help someone navigate that?
Yeah, thank you. I'm always working on my own list, so I'd love to hear for you too. But what's been really helpful for me, what I always suggest to folks that are looking for really simple ways on a walk to work or to meet a friend or go to a party, is having a small kit, right, of maybe a few essential oils to feel into different aromas that feel nourishing to your heart, whether it's lavender or rose. But the more I think we can welcome nature into our day-to-day and tune into how nature supports us in our feeling body, allowing us to move out of the mind and really to take a smell into maybe an intention, right? Like, do we want to welcome gentleness or ease into our nervous system?
I like that.
Having those, just little micro doses, whether I carry a seashell in my altar bag to be reminded of
we water. Love seashells.
Yeah. Do you guys have a whole collection too?
Everywhere we go, we collect sand from the beach, and we collect seashells. And
love that. That way the sea is always with you, right? And the elements that we're not separate from, like however much we can take time to align with even moon phases, right? Like when a full moon is coming, that can be a really great opportunity to do a little review of the week or the month or the season and just connect with whether it's a higher power or literally like the sun, moon, and stars, just remembering the interconnectivity of the mycelium of both beings and planets and how we're doing this work all together. And when the mind is in hyperspeed, moment to maybe ponder the beauty around and just like check in on the senses. How much can we taste, smell, right? Like where we are. And that I think can really support dropping into presence and also perhaps releasing a little bit of the fight or flight that I think is also just a part of city living.
Absolutely. Yeah. Without knowing it, I definitely have incorporated some of those, strategies. Like, prior to this session, I put on a scent that has sandalwood.
Beautiful.
It helps me put myself in a certain mindset. I love sandalwood. It's so nice. I can't remember what we were watching, but somebody was like, what does Brad Pitt smell like? It smells like sandalwood.
Bring in Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly. Channel Brad Pitt.
But those micro choices make such a difference. And right, like whether it's creating, an altar or a corner of your room or your home, that's something I work a lot with my clients who are going through a transition, is even if your home is changing or you're not sure where it'll be in like a week or a month, is there a corner that can have particular items? For me, like I carry this owl everywhere.
It's a cutie.
Thanks. It's a snow owl. And it's also my grandmother. And she's been my wise owl, but also a reminder to look 180-degree perspectives wherever I am. And also be reminded to look up at the birds and thank and study these wing teachers. We're always shifting their own migration patterns, right? And reminding us of the sky and of the ability to adapt and flow. And
absolutely. And I know prior to filming, when we've kind of discussed the structure of the questions and stuff like that, we've talked about elements and air. And I think that's very beautiful that you keep your grandmother with you. I love that she is an owl, and that it reminds you to look up at the sky. And I also have a connection with birds.
Beautiful.
It's really interesting the things that we do to remind us of self and ancestors, ancestry.
Yes.
Do you have there been other, I know you said both of your parents are therapists?
Not any longer. My dad retired.
Okay.
But
we're therapists.
Yeah. Yep.
Being a guide, being someone that helps individuals find self or cope or understand themselves or their place in the world, that's part of your family.
Yeah, I feel fortunate that my grandmother, who emigrated here from Berlin when she was 7 years old and just escaped being sent off to a concentration camp, has created such a foundation for anything being possible. She put herself back to social work school at Columbia, taught herself English over like a year's time. Yeah, wow. Social justice, community activism, just all the ways we can forever take ourselves and one another. So when I created Feelings Felt, my brand and essentially my community, which has grown to about 750 folks who come together to explore breathwork, sound, bodywork, different ways to tune into somatic practices together. It's really, selfishly the thing that I enjoy most with others is nice releasing words, right? As much as language is beautiful, how can we come together to be in spaces that invite everyone into their own expression?
And you're always doing something. Yeah, I've seen in that the WhatsApp group that you added me on. Like there's always something going on, and it's fascinating and inspiring to see the community that you've built and the reach that you have.
We're doing it together. I'm so grateful you guys, are inviting me into the platform you're building, because they're all one, right? And the more like we just find each other in, whether it's these beautiful sanctuaries in Greenpoint or by the river or Fort Tilden dancing on the beach, the joy just continues to.
I love that. And we both have that breathwork connection. What I don't have a lot of experience in is sound healing. Can you tell me what drew you to that, and tell us what it is and what type of emotions and feelings that it plays on and how it helps people?
Yeah. As I look over at the instruments that have changed my life, I always thought that I wasn't a musician. I played like piano and clarinet as a child, but I was always like to perform, right? Like waiting to make sure that I got all the notes and my teacher would be proud of me. And I think because of that pressure, I didn't actually find a lot of joy in it. And then I'd say, 4 or 5 years ago, I finally gave myself the permission to go back to sound school, to music school, after a lot of time collaborating with different sound healers in my breathwork and medicine ceremonies, learning from amazing artists that were just really naturally in their spirit as they would play. And I thought I needed to know a lot about theory in order to play those instruments, or even like
not necessarily the case, right? Sometimes it's as easy as picking up an instrument and just doing.
That's it. And so there were instruments I would play with a little bit, but I really want to credit one of my teachers, David Shemish, who's a beautiful Israeli sound healing maestro, I would say, that creates these mystery sound schools all over the world. And after spending 8 days with him and with 40 other sound healing practitioners from all over the world, and having the chance to deepen my knowledge of music theory, but also around shamanism, intuition, having the gift of learning from many different instruments in front of us that he generously brought so that we could really learn and explore every instrument and how they feel in our own internal system. That just brought back so much music and readiness to really tune my instrument in new ways. And suddenly there were 30 instruments in my house. And now I have this huge backpack wherever I go, to any ceremony, friends' homes, workshops, to honor how much I do believe like resonance and vibration can help shift stories, depression, PTSD, stuck energy, and also just be deeply joyful and cathartic, right? Like, how many times has a song come on for you on the radio? It's like your favorite song, and like,
it can elicit an emotional response pretty instantaneously. We went to a breathwork event. The breathing, I wouldn't say that it was like super advanced, but intermediate level breathing practices. But that, in combination of the sound and the beat, the rhythm, the type of music that was played, elicited such a strong emotional response. I went in not skeptical, but just kind of curious, and I left crying in such a healing way, and it was so cathartic.
And you were open, right? And you chose to have that. And I feel like that's half of it, is like, even if you're skeptical, to show up. and to be available for a brand new experience, because I think each and every time it is a new experience, even if you've been practicing breath work or meditation or whatever your medium is for a year, right? Like to give ourselves the gift of re-meeting ourselves in a new way, and in the neuroplasticity, right, that like sound and breath can support, having the chance to create new stories, and also let go. And a good like right rhythmic drum can like wake up the fire in the belly and the prana and the chi, which actually allows us to tune into this like ancient dance that we've all been doing, right? And our ancestors have been doing. And so there's nothing I love more than when we have like 20 folks here in a circle and we're drumming and people are singing and whooping and meowing, and like we're getting to the animal body, right? Like ancient primal parts of self that also give us our remembrance of our power and how we work as a community to move energy as well.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely something to these, I don't know if I would call it a spiritual, especially when it comes to movement and dance, these spiritual practices, almost like the whirling dervishes, or these ceremonies that would happen in these communities where you would dance and until you dropped pretty much, and it would like create this connection with a higher power. And that wasn't just like an isolated community, that was scattered all over the world. Communities, beings, finding the rhythm, the flow. And like, I don't know if you dance 5 rhythms, but there's I haven't, no. Okay, there's an amazing community I'm learning so much. New York, but also all over the world, called 5 Rhythms, which is based off of 5 different types of movement, like flow, chaos, staccato. And any day of the week, you can hop in a dance floor and explore like how your body wants to express through flow or through chaos, and meet 50 to 100 new friends who are also moving with those same rhythms. And that also exists everywhere in the world. And I think just a reminder, right, like when life is wild and chaotic, that we're all family. 100%. And like to find the medium that brings joy, likeliness is that there's 50 or 100 folks that are also right next to you that want to sing, exhale, or like be in the dance together. I think that's what a lot of us are looking for. I watched a video the other day about, there's been a lot of studies that have come out saying that people are feeling lonelier and lonelier. There's this desperate need to feel connection. And some of us don't know how to go about it. And it's nice to hear about these organizations. Tell me the name of it one more time. 5 Rhythms. 5 Rhythms. That create a space like that. And places like Reforesters. We did an episode at Recovery in Brooklyn Bridge Park. Siobhan and Connor, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Danny Massa. But yeah, practitioners like yourself that are just trying to connect with others, create a space and an opportunity for us to connect. Yeah, keep coming home together. Yeah. And it's inspiring, right? Learning from each other, what's possible. And I feel like, at least for me, the projects I've dedicated myself to, even when it's been 3 people or 5 people or 10 people showing up, folks will share, right? And suddenly there's 2 more friends or 5 more friends, or there's a slam poet or a yogi that wants to share another way to expand the practice. And one of the projects I launched several years ago, which we did 2 years of, was called the Somatic Saloon. And it was a speakeasy for healing and feeling. So we had breath work and body work, Thai massage, and folks were just sharing different ways to remember, honor the sacredness of being human and learn from each other through really working together, both in receiving and in facilitating. And I think as a constantly like a student of life, my favorite is just being in spaces where we create extra permission by being vulnerable and sharing what we don't know and being open to learning from each other. So I want to learn about your friends too that are holding these sauna, ice bath, spaces, and cold therapy is my jam too. It was really cool. Danny Massa was the guest, and he suggested that space. We talked about our my story, like finding guests and finding people that'll participate with the podcast. Ourcana sessions can be challenging, but I was able to get a hold of him, and he's like, "Tell me your story." And I told him about my struggles with addiction and changing my life with sobriety, and through people close to me, challenges that they have faced, leaning in more into the holistic healing space and just finding so much joy and happiness and light in those spaces. And he was like, I'm in. My only caveat is we have to do it here. And, upon further discussion, and we talk about it in the episode, he chose that place because Siobhan's father, when he passed away, Connor was like, this was such an interesting man and very sharp and very talented. Why at the end was there not more material accumulation? Why didn't he chase the almighty dollar and all that stuff? And come to find out, when he passed away and they went to their funeral, hundreds of people showed up, and he was sponsoring them, sponsoring all these individuals in their sobriety.
Amazing.
And Connor had this epiphany of like, oh, he never wasted his life. I'm wasting mine. And that's when they came up with the idea of creating that studio recovery.
Beautiful.
And I don't know what the connection is with Danny Massa, but I think they brought him in as a consultant. Maybe they knew each other prior to that, but
it's so inspiring to hear about the way of the karmic exchange, right? Like everyone just creating spaces that we're seeking, and kudos to your friend and to you and all the ways sober medicine, right? Like just remembering how beautiful and blissful and joyful it can be. And I feel just like so much joy, even just like connecting in the sunlight with you. Like this is filling up my cup. And I feel like, I don't drink anymore either. And, plants have changed my life in such amazing ways. But I think it's so cool that there are so many listening bars now that are mocktail and, elixir oriented, and so many alternative nightlife gatherings. My friend Marissa has a group called Altered, which is about sober rave, and daybreakers, right? And there's just so many different ways to find each other and wake up at sunrise and dance like wild and co-create, meaningful retreats, which is something that I love to do. I create these somatic reset weekends for folks to come together and just decompress and be.
That's not one of the events that's in Peru that's coming up?
It is.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's a good segue. Like I found my sobriety through AA. It's a process, but at that point in time, I was just so tired and sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I just showed up and I said, whatever it is you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. And that worked for me. And I know a couple of other people that have found sobriety through plant medicine. For those that aren't familiar with plant medicine, can you tell myself and tell whoever's watching and listening a little bit about what these sacred medicines are, how they help individuals, what they're used for, and just a little bit more about that space for those that aren't familiar?
Sure. It's a vast topic. I can speak from my own experience. And thanks for the question, because I certainly feel like I am who I am because of many reminders from the mushrooms and from grandmother ayahuasca and from some of the sacred master plans that I've really received so many codes from. But I would say, as we're all learning on this planet and remembering the infinite wonder of the earth that surrounds us, and whether it's vegetables, fruits, or herbs and flowers, or working with more psychoactive medicines that can be used for healing, for releasing depression, stuck energy, PTSD, trauma in the body, addiction, right? Like different ways to tune into all of our unique diversity in neurodivergence, and whether it's Parkinson's or cancer, there is likely a plant medicine that is in sacred support. And so I love that we have continued evolution in medicine and magic in the medical world, right? And in the Western world, we also have so many ancient Eastern and indigenous medicines that are forever available as long as we keep protecting them, and the indigenous guardians and stewards, as well as so many parts of the world that are also potentially in harm's way. The Amazon, right? Like we need to as a forever community and connected community of Mother Earth, Pachamama, like look after these sacred resources that 100%. Also are here to be channels for infinite remembrance and wisdom. And
I think some people associate plant medicine with specifically psychedelics, and that's not necessarily the case. Like there is definitely an increased interest in herbalism and kind of stepping back from pharmaceutical intervention and looking more for holistic approaches, whether that's herbs or changing diet. His name is eluding me, but there is an individual that I think is from New York, and I think he got a ticket. He graduated. I don't want to butcher the story, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think he graduated high school early and then bought a ticket to the Amazon and lived down there for like 10 years or something, and then got associated with anacondas and pythons. And I think he had a show on Discovery that ultimately didn't get aired because they wanted him to get partially swallowed by an anaconda in like a somewhat safe, controlled environment. I don't remember all of it. But he's a super interesting guy.
I hope he's still here.
He's still here, and he has become an activist for rainforest Amazon conservation.
That's awesome.
He kind of shines light on the logging communities that are exploiting the rainforest legally and illegally.
Yep.
The companies that are kind of setting up shop. And I think it's brought a lot of attention to what's going on down there. And his particular organization continues to buy, like, I know if you donate to his foundation, all that money goes to purchasing land in the Amazon. And it's 100% for conservation. There's no profit at all. I think it's just to conserve the land.
That's the work, right? We have to. And these actually, I wore these today because they come from a medicine woman that I've been learning from named Tanya, who's in Ecuador, a part of the Sapara Women's Collective. And she has amazing jewelry for purchase if anyone is interested, that also supports beautiful community in the Amazon in Ecuador. And I think it's so important to just continue to create amazing, right, sacred relationships. And in the Andean tradition, we call that Aini or Aini, which is all around right reciprocity. So if we're right wanting to venture to part of the world and learn from native traditions and potentially consume, like, how can we continue to honor, pay tribute, really take care of our sacred alliances? And I believe that includes every being on this planet, right? And the two-leggeds and the four-leggeds, and in the shamanic tradition, that is our work is to be guardians and stewards of life. And anyone who feels called to shamanism can also be on the shamanic path. It doesn't mean I'm special because this has been my course. It's actually just been like a consistent callback from medicines and from power animal journeying, which is why I also bring this owl. I really think it's amazing how much we can learn from our animal friends and animal teachers around us, whether it's the birds, right, or the winged ones, the tailed ones. But there's so much spiritual guidance that's available to figure out how to, remember the ways we're all taking care of each other, like the beavers, right, on the dams and rivers. I have a friend who has a sanctuary upstate, and he won't actually build on the land if he doesn't actually check in with the beavers and make sure, like,
I love that.
Yeah, to like really just listen to the land and how we caretake, especially with privilege, power dynamics at play all over the world, right? How do we just continue to honor open-hearted communication to support a world that's more harmonious and more in honoring of.
Since you've been in this space, have you seen a shift in society that kind of shows you that we're kind of leaning back towards a connection with nature? I know a lot of people are concerned with AI, and there's all sorts of things going on in the world, and geopolitics, and it goes back to that feeling of loneliness and isolation, and we're looking for that way to connect. And I guess, my question to you would be: have you seen that people kind of leaning more into this, society as a whole?
Yeah, I love this question, and I feel like, our awareness is like our most precious resource, right? What we give our awareness to, whether that's negative thoughts or self-limiting beliefs, or whether that's tuning into our creatorship, right? Like, how do we create? And the fact that, you guys created this beautiful channel and this space to connect and to share and bring people together, like, it's amazing. And that's like, right, that what led us together. And I think the more we're all in our creation and building from a space of passion and curiosity and supporting humanity, right, the more gateways and doorways and bridges, I think the become even more abundant. And I think that for me as a shamanic practitioner and ceremonialist, I'm in awe of how many folks are showing up to meditation classes and yoga classes and wanting to sing by the fire. And I think the more we can continue to honor all of our ancestors, right, who used to just hang by the fire and get together and camp out, right, and like live on maybe a little more simply at times, but with so much wisdom for what actually matters. And thank God for the beautiful continuation of tech and all that tech can actually support, for our planet too. But I try to lean into the brilliant creativity and the amazing ways that communities are converging and finding each other from all over the world through tech to actually like have even more meaningful, deeply human relationships. And I think part of that for me and why I hold space here and have been holding sacred space here for the past year and a half at Reforesters Lab is to help people step away from their computers and meet each other and have a moment of doing what we're doing, just coming eye to eye to remember these mirrors, right, that we're carrying for each other. And that it's okay to be vulnerable when life gets challenging or we've been doing our taxes, but to actually exhale and to shake together and to be really honestly in our humanity, which can be messy as it can be beautiful. And I think I'm really grateful to Greg who built this space, which is also an extension of the farm he has upstate, because he wanted to create a spatial audio laboratory for connection. There's 17 speakers all around.
It's a really incredible space, and I can imagine the acoustics in here and the sound that is created in this space is incredible and moving.
Yeah, really like wraps you like a blanket. And there's so many different types of artists from all over the world coming to share and unite. And I'm very grateful that there's so many more spaces like this popping up. But they also they need creators and folks that believe in the power of community. And so for those watching, if you're interested, there's co-working, there's ceremonies every night. I host a project called the Possibility Portal, which is to help us seed possibilities together. And remember, they're all possible as long as we show up for them. And we use breathwork and sound as the mediums to release, to let go, to welcome our intention into our body, and welcome the unseen, welcome things we didn't even know were possible yet, through the higher vision, right? The third eye, the space of inner knowing.
I'm sorry, I will put the information for Reforesters Lab in the comments. I'm so sorry, in the description. And I will put a link to your schedule and your events also in the description. I want to give something you said reminded me. I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Gigi Arnaud, our previous guest. You said, shake it off. And her and I discussed how there's a physiological thing that happens, and you can see it a lot with animals. In that fight or flight kind of situation, the cortisol that's released in your body afterwards, you'll see it with dogs after they have the zoomies, they'll go, and it's literally to shake and break apart those cortisol that's floating around in your blood.
It's so amazing, the tools, right, that are so natural for many animals and that we sometimes need to remember, but also are ours too, to just be in practice with.
And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I teach on Twitch, and there's a lot of shaking it out during those sessions. But what are other things that we as individuals can do? If you are in New York, definitely check out Reforesters. It's a very cool spot, and I'll put all the information in the description. But for those that are in rural Kansas, or if someone's in a remote spot in the UK and they're watching this, they're like, I don't really have access to spaces like that. What are things that the individual can do at home to kind of free themselves?
Yeah, I love this question because I think at the end of the day, whatever we're experiencing outside externally is also a mirroring of our internal space. And so the more we get comfortable saying yes, and I'm open, or show me to our own inner world, whether that's through spending 10 minutes by a favorite tree and relaxing on the earth's core and exploring a 2-part breath, which I'd love to share and offer to those that want to try this practice. But taking 10 minutes in the morning to release worries, release caregiving, holding of others, just literally what you just shared, right? The shaking off, the letting go, to actually greet each chakra, each part of self, to honor the sacredness of being human, our bodies that house our spirits, right? And like I actually like to tap throughout the day just to bring in gratitude and shake up and wake up the cells and the fascia. And I think, if you're not feeling like you want to go invest in a bodywork session or a somatic coaching session, there's also an opportunity, right, to create that which you desire most. So the likeliness that something you might be seeking, probably 5 to 10, 100 other folks might be as well. And I really love to support and celebrate folks that are starting something new in their own towns or cities, right? Like if you have a meetup.com site or you want to try building a bodywork jam to share practices that you're curious about or teach. That was how I built this community, was just finding friends that were willing to get together to both share and receive bodywork, breathwork, sound healing exercises. And suddenly there were hundreds of folks that wanted to join, because I think at the end of the day, we're all seeking a lot of the same thing: connection, community, ways to learn from each other and with each other, and to also be a part of something greater than ourselves, right? To expand visions. And with that, I guess I would also just invite folks who are watching to tune into what your vision for yourself is. Like what lights you up the most, because that spark and that feeling of joy and liberation and like, there's nothing more I'd rather do in my life, that will speak louder than anything else in the world. And it will also help to support continued domino effects, right, of like-minded conversations and winks from strangers. I saw a friend walking on the path right as I met you guys, and they pointed to the clock and there was an angel number. And it was just another beautiful sign that I'm always trying to tune into around staying on my path, which I think is really, doing what we're doing, creating vulnerable conversations about our own mental health and wellness and spiritual journeys to help destigmatize and create space for what it is to be human and to be figuring it out together.
Absolutely. It's important, I think, to be open and receptive. And if this is something that you are interested in, keep your eyes open, because the universe will show you signs. Mm-hmm. Like when we did episode 3 at Recovery, it was just happenstance that Siobhan, one of the owners, was friends with my first guest, Victoria, and they've been friends for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, there was no coordination, just this little serendipitous moment that says, keep going. Mm-hmm,
yes. Yeah. Those soft, gentle wind-like currents.
Angel numbers.
Yes, and.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt that when you called and reached out, I was like, oh, new friends, regardless of what comes of it. And I think getting to have a really public conversation about just our own, synchronistic winks is actually something that I want to build one day into.
I love that synchronistic winks.
Around counting our synchronicities in togetherness. So thank you for sharing those ones. I celebrate you on your path and your partner's path and how you guys are co-creating together from your hearts. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of you that are interested in the jewelry or that was mentioned, we'll put a link in the description, as well as your online resources on your website, any videos and stuff like that. So we've talked a lot about different parts of the holistic practices that are available. And you have another event coming up it's a woman's empowerment event. Is that a good way to describe it?
Definitely. We're calling in sisters from all over the world who want to come be in the Andes together and to help support the local Quechuan community through relationship building, through working on an amazing retreat center in Pisac, and also diving into different somatic practices and ritual to keep on nourishing ourselves so that we can continue to be in service all together in all the different pockets of the world we're coming from, and also building locally with our brothers and sisters in Peru. And some of my teachers will be joining us and giving some amazing wisdom talks as well. And I'm very grateful for my Quechuan shamanic brothers who I've been learning from, who will likely be joining us. It's going to be just an opportunity to really learn and expand in togetherness.
And when is that?
That will be in November 2026.
Okay. So for those that are interested, there's still plenty of time to sign up.
Please come. We want you with us if you feel the call.
I love the work that you're doing. There's so many facets and so many different ways that you're approaching helping and healing. And I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. I love what you're up to too, and that we get to all come together to co-create and just keep expanding possibilities for creativity and connection and for heart care in this world.
I think we're going to be doing a little ceremony today, correct?
I would be honored to hold sacred space for you and your lovely partner if you guys are up for it.
I think we're ready and up for the opportunity to work with you, and that's good. I'm excited.
Awesome.